Hopefully everyone had a good weekend. We can see that the market is opening up on a rather large gap. So gap rules will be in play today. If we take the low from yesterday, we can see you're looking at around 42.20, 42.80 here. We've got about a 40-point gap, which I would say is definitely a larger gap than uh well, Friday's gap was actually pretty big as well, but another gap basically right in a row, loading in, and we're kind of sandwiched between two gaps here. So this is a previous gap that's held since, what day was this? The 9th of August. And then we kind of went up, balanced a little bit, and then have moved down and looking to get back into that gap here. So today, there's going to be probably a decent amount of volatility leading into the day, and we're going to want to try to stay as patient as possible. There will be an opportunity, especially here. It kind of looks like there's low volume forming here at the low. If we don't see a lot of selling overall early on in the session, you may see a bit of overnight inventory correction. We do have that point of control from the overnight session up here around 42.13, and then previous day's low would be the target if they were able to get up there. But really, it seems like a day where we want to sell rallies until the gap fills and buy breaks until this gap fills. It's going to be a dangerous day, and so if this is a day, this is not a day where you want to just be putting it all on the table and looking to get a big gain. Morning, Kevin. Today would be a day definitely that you want to be patient. Buy breaks.
Good morning. Hey, so what causes these gaps?
A lot of times these gaps are caused by the entrance of a other time frame trader or a larger time frame trader, and then it also could be most likely liquidation as well. I'm going to pull up the COT report and show you guys something, and kind of what I'm really paying attention to is, let me find the COT report real quick. What's really kind of grabbing my eye is how long the market got on Tuesday last week, right? So we know that the COT report is based off of, where is the, okay, here. So we have the COT report, and it's based off of the 16th, which is last week on Tuesday, right? So it's kind of old data, but you can see dealers got long. They added to the long and added to the short. Asset managers, so bigger money, added to the long big time and cut a lot of their shorts. Leverage funds took off some of their longs and added big on the shorts. And so you can kind of see the skew here. Leveraged money is extremely short. And if we look at this little graph here, you can just see dealers and asset managers really kind of keying in for the long, where leveraged funds are keyed in for the short here. And if we, take this thing all the way back, we really haven't seen this since, since like the 15th of, or 2015, when the market had a rather big pullback. You can see that huge gap down off those weeks. So most likely what's kind of grabbing my keys or my brain is we have a longer time frame trader entering the market short. Here's the excess here. We already know that, and this is only showing the cash session here. We already know that we're going to get a cessation of one time framing on the weekly now, because the open is most likely going to be down here around this 41.88 in this or close to this gap down here. And so the target would become this 41.12, excuse me, 41.13, the previous week's low. We also have that 100 SMA there, right, which I'm not really paying too much attention to. It's just kind of a midpoint between the 50 and the 200. And this is on the weekly chart here. We do have a previous equilibrium and something that I'm definitely going to be watching. Flying Pot, what's up, man? Poke, what's up? You can kind of see where the price has been agreed upon in this level here before, which is right in that gap. So I am being careful inside this gap. Buyers could show up and try to test this trend line we've been holding since the all-time high. So that's definitely a possibility. But a lot of times the long answer to your question, Kevin, is really just an entrance of an other time frame trader. And then looking at the COT report, it makes me kind of assume that a lot of it was liquidation. Morning, Dad. And so that's something I'm definitely going to be watching for. If it was just pure liquidation from these longs, if you look here, figure last Tuesday was the 16th, right? So here's the 16th. And if asset managers and dealers all got long, assuming that the market was going to continue up and then the market didn't break, it balanced. And this day looked like more balance. This day looked like indecision, right? With failure to get the market higher. This day looks like a liquidation day, right? Looking, pretty much just like a B profile, easy kind of day to trade for the most part. It didn't close a little gap that it had above, right? Just sell every time it goes up. And then today we have another gap. So depending upon where we open, we're going to be pretty much sandwiched right in between two gaps, a gap from up here and then basically to right here. So really it's going to kind of, to me, just decide on which gap doesn't fill first. Would be a little bit of information that we're looking for here. We do have the PMI number coming out 15 minutes after they open, so it would probably be advantageous to just wait until that number comes out, as it might set the tone for the day early on and make our decisions a little bit easier. Guaranteed we're going to be opening up with a fairly negative breadth and negative sectors, especially on a big gap down day like this. If we take a little peek around the block here, we can already tell Apple's going to be opening up down on a gap. So Apple's actually getting in close to a pretty key level here. Let me update something real quick.
What numbers did you see were coming out?
The PMI numbers. Yeah, and so we can see that Apple's way below these put levels. Going to be opening up on a gap for sure. And you can probably see the market just start selling below these puts to get this continuation. I'm probably going to get a lot of updates early on in the market today. I'm going to start playing some stocks a little bit more now that the volatility comes back, and I'll post some of my trades in the Discord as they set up. There'll probably be more swing trades with the options. I don't really have the time to do the day trades. Oil came down as well. Morning, Dr. VJ. Morning, Peter. So let's keep going. AMD is going to be opening up down on a gap. Amazon going to be opening up down on a gap. Disney going to be opening up down on a gap. I added that to my list this week. Google opening up down on a gap. Meta opening up down on a gap. Netflix opening up down on a gap. And our triple Q, of course, probably going to be opening up down on a gap. The VIX, let's look at Tesla real quick. You can see Tesla's going to even be opening up down on a gap. And then the VIX is actually going to be opening up on a gap, climbing up above that magic, really kind of establishing itself after peaking below the 20, jumping back up to the 23 now. All right. Morning, Tommy. Yeah, so I mean, a lot, a lot of, a lot going on early this morning. Morning, Stacey. With this rather large gap getting ready to open up. So today's going to be a day where it's going to be a tough day to trade. I think it's going to be one of the tougher days, and it's going to be a kind of day where you don't want to get too aggressive on one side or the other unless you're willing to take it off quick because I feel like you could really get punished early on today. And there's a lot of news that came out this weekend too, a lot of bad news or a lot of bearish news at least. Like, you had like the geopolitical news, I should say, with um, I guess Russia's blaming the US for the killing of Putin's daughter. I guess she accidentally got killed and it's supposed to be some high level executive of the excuse me, a high level executive of um Russia, but it ended up being Putin's daughter, so not really the greatest look for the US, if you ask me. It's not Putin's daughter, it's one of his trusted man's daughters. Oh, okay, that's what it was. Okay, I didn't know if it was Putin's daughter. I thought I read Putin's daughter. I must have misread it. Appreciate it, Daniel. Yeah, but so I guess they meant to kill his trusted man, but they accidentally got his trusted man's daughter. Either way, not great. And then you had some inflation news coming out of Europe as well. And then you can see on my chart I have this balance high marked, right? And if you remember correctly, we had this previous balance. Let me switch this back to the ES here. We had these previous balance levels where we saw a pretty decent amount of action. Is their mic on? Um, Not Putin's daughter, mate, but all good. Yeah. My bad. That was my bad. We have these previous balance areas, and the market's going to be opening up here right above it. So like I said, it's a very tricky day. We've got a gap above, we're filling a gap below, or opening up really, near this gap below, and then you're looking to see if it's going to get accepted in this lower balance. If it does, the target becomes that 4100-ish level, and we did have a weak low down there. So this week low was at 41. 4080.5. So if it gets accepted in this lower balance, fills this gap, that would be our first key. But then that gap low would be here for acceptance. We start to get into some of these single prints on the daily level as well. So the only thing that kind of has me, I guess, just kind of leaning or not just fully committed to the short side is just that, pretty much everyone that has been like a perma bear, as they would say, um, you know, I think that at least the sentiment that I saw on like Twitter and YouTube was basically like, see, I called it, I told you guys never sell your puts, blah 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 blah. But in the big scheme of things, right? I mean, the market's down, it's down a bit, but people have been calling short from underneath of the 4,000, and so it's like you've got to think about those type of people, right? That is just typical psychology of people really kind of convincing themselves to keep holding a short, right? They might be taking all this heat and it finally goes down a little bit and they're like, I fucking knew it, I was right, I'm gonna keep holding my puts. But how long are they really gonna hold it, right? Any sign of buying, really, I think you're gonna scare out a lot of weak shorts. And so if this thing is going to continue down, I think there's going to be some big volatility coming in before. I don't think it's just going to be falling off a cliff like a stone. So, just be prepared for that. Be patient with your trades, especially as we're re-entering a balance area. You just want to be cautious with that. Don't necessarily just go full bore and just smash the downside. Just be prepared. Yeah, England said inflation was 10.5. Yeah, so pretty big raise for them. Warden, knock it off. What's this? Yeah, we're still above the June high. Yeah, if you look on the monthly, we are coming close to that monthly high, that previous month's high. Back here in June, which would be the 76.75, but it looks like it's already, I mean, it looks like it's going to push back down into there. I'm really watching this 41.43.75. That would be an area where you can see some people look to get long. So we have it. And then remember, a cessation of one time framing on the monthly would be a break of that 40.80.5. That's that weak low that we saw on the daily. So that would be an entrance, and that would be basically showing us a look above and fail, right? The market kind of balanced down here a little bit. We had that previous balance up here, looked above, didn't really even get back to the base of those distributions. And if it comes back down in here, be looking for acceptance, and then the trade would be back, I mean, all the way down to that 3,600, really. I don't know. I think this low looks pretty strong. We might get some downside, but I think that low actually looks pretty decent. But, only time will tell, and we're only intraday trading, so. What kind of dog do I have? It's a German Shepherd. 108-pound German Shepherd. He's a fucking monster. All right, let's play some Reveille and get motivated, ready for this start of the day. All right, we are motivated, pumped, and ready to rock and roll. The speculation that the bomb was for him, yeah, and I guess there's speculation, or at least the news was saying that it was the U.S. that that started or that planted the bomb. So there's like you know, blame getting passed around and stuff. Yeah, Dan, we did. We moved down pretty aggressively during the pre-market. And I actually had a nice short during Globex last night that I closed at 42.02. I went to bed, so I wasn't on for it, but I just didn't know how much lower we were going to get, and I wanted to cover before that 4200 level, but it looks like I should have just held it. Yeah, Bitcoin does look pretty bad. It looks like there's going to be some movement lower here in crypto. So balancing in between these previous zones, I did find it kind of funny that, you know, we've had these zones. Bitcoin is just, it trades its levels just almost, because of the low liquidity, it trades its levels like identically. So we had initially marked these levels as levels where we could see the balance. We came up balanced, and then we had marked this level as a level that it needed to hold, right? As it had held above, that it held below as resistance, then it held a support. Got below, couldn't break, came back down, didn't even react on this first level, but now has come down, hit this level twice, and then found resistance here. So really, I think in between these zones of Bitcoin, a break above this 21,741 or a break below this 27,340 is a go with situation as the market's balancing here. So you could get long above this level or short below this level, and you'd be targeting this 20k level down here below, and then above you'd be targeting that 22. So I think there's opportunity on both sides. Yeah, Uncle Stacy, you must have missed it. I just played it. All right, we've got about a minute and a half. No worries, I'll make up for it in profit. It's nice. That's the attitude. Got that right, might hit 19k, then shoot up. There's absorption on Bitcoin. Yeah, it definitely looks like Jason, what's up, man? LFG. So we got about a minute until the market opens up. Now's that time. Make sure your trade plan's locked in. Make sure you've got your levels identified. Make sure you have something to keep your hands busy so you don't get caught up in the volatility early on, and get ready for this market to open. Remember, today might seem like a very advantageous day to trade the open, you know, but just be careful. A lot of volatility could be coming out. No. There's a truck outside. My dog just hates big trucks. All right, here we go. 15 seconds. Get ready. Gordon, relax. He wants to go outside so he can bark at somebody that's outside. All right, there's the market. We open up right on the base of this gap. Hold on here. So look for that correction. Overnight inventory doesn't break the Globex low yet. It does look like some volume is coming down here early on. 6 contracts traded on that low tick here. 2 tickers are starting P counts, including the initial one. There goes a break of that low. Volume comes in. Look at the tick, right? Very negative tick. Let's watch Apple here over on this side. Back up into the Globex range. Curtis, let him outside real quick. Jeez. Let him outside real quick. So really just kind of choppy right here. No reason to get kind of mixed up in this. Just kind of wait it out. Um, nothing really too crazy, at least early on. Like I said, they're gonna need some selling to come down in here to push this thing lower. Healthcare really the only thing kind of pumping up here. Back below the open here. A lot of volume coming in right here below the open. This thing may get a little bit of recovery here. $500 lots sitting on the 82. Back below it's open. The Apple came back down. Remember, we have the PMI numbers 15 minutes after the market opens here. So pretty tight range early on, as we can see here. The tick still just got faded from that negative 1,000, so there's no real buying going on here either. A little bit of liquidation, weak spot on the profile, 73.25. And remember, the tick is really going to key us in on, if these buyers are strong or if they're showing up at all here. Basically, with its inability to even get above the 0 level, that kind of keys us in on telling us, we don't really necessarily want to be getting long off of that.
Did I see this? Why'd you?
Right? If the tick were to get above the 0 level, that would kind of tell us that there's some buyers in the market. Sorry about that, guys. So let's see if some buyers are willing to show up down here. We're starting to see a little bit of volume come in down here at these lows. We're going to be targeting this weak spot. It just looks like it's getting a little bit overdone here. These sellers kind of look like they're getting maybe possibly caught down here, a little bit too aggressive, and it may need to catch a little bit of a bounce. I'm not saying to get long. I'm just saying to be careful on a short. If you're in a short right now, I'd be looking at this as a possible area to make sure we're covering in some profit here. Look for these sellers. The weak spot's 73.25. So if they don't hold this level here below the 73.25, you may see some more downside, or you may see some upside. I mean, excuse me, if they don't hold this 73.25 level. And then look for these sellers to try to re-offer here off this Globex low and half back 74 area. Offer still looks pretty strong here. You're getting a decent amount of volume on both sides. Watch the tick here. Tick getting back above that negative 600. Still not above the 0 level though. Weighted sectors, you've seen utilities flip green. Healthcare looking the strongest right now. For the most part though, everything is below its open, not really looking ideal. 0 to 230 on the put call ratio. Adam, good morning. Still no tickers with C counts. Yeah, big gap down day. It's probably going to take a bit of time for these guys to really kind of figure themselves out. She's in the bathroom. All right. Can you adjust the AD? This is it right here. So it's not really going to print anything until the first 15 minutes, and so we still got about 5 more minutes until this thing's going to print. It's going to print a bar every 15 minutes. So we'll see here. Poke, you're thinking that they rip it up after the PMI? Yeah, they could. Definitely a possibility for sure. Crypto Mojo, good morning, good morning. So we saw the offer move down. They didn't fill that weak spot 73.25 here. Yeah, we'll kind of see what they give us early on here. Counts are slowing down a bit. Yeah, you're seeing, I mean, tech is just getting hammered here. So with financials, even energy is getting hammered here quite a bit as well. You're seeing this offer kind of sit on this 70 75 here, just kind of holding it down. So if too much above that, this thing might try to go back and fill some of the weak spot. We're already seeing kind of a double distribution early on here where the volume's moving down to kind of meet all the bids. And this is remember gap rules, you want to go with the gap. So a gap that doesn't fill early, and there's no necessarily time set on what early is, but I mean, the gap is pretty big, and you can tell it's obviously not filling very early. We're still seeing the tick look pretty full on here, but still not above the zero line, so still not really convincing us to try to get long. Even if this thing does pop, right, it's not necessarily saying that we want to get long. You might want to wait till it's above the zero and above the open, the market. That would be a more convincing look, in my opinion. So back into that weak spot. There's that 73 quarter there. So we'll look for selling off the half back, 74. This is an area where these sellers could do some backing and filling here. And remember, we've got 2 minutes until the PMI numbers come out. So you might see a lot of these shorts just getting out of their positions as well, kind of like Poke was talking about. Looking to not get too crazy leading into these PMIs. Decent volume. So you see this is this gap level here right below the Globex low, kind of untraded still, right? They had that weak spot 73, traded up through it, didn't really do anything. Back up to where the volume was at to see if the offer is still there here. Still there here. Still dollar looking to break out. Let's look at the dollar. Yeah, dollar's on the rise. Jeez Louise. Oil getting smacked as well. And then the 6A is actually doing pretty well here. Opened up on a gap, trading back a little bit lower, but looking maybe possibly to get a little rise. So PMI number comes out. No real reaction yet. Let me look up the number. I just monitor for a reaction, of course. First, you can see the weighted sector's not really too heavy to the downside yet. And now it looks like we're seeing some bids step up on that half back. Like sellers might be getting a little bit aggressive here on the 75. Watch for this half back to get bought. So they push it through, there it goes, and then back down to the lower distribution. Let me look at investing.com. It says 945. I don't see the number yet. Oh, my bad, guys. Boomers can't even release numbers on time. Yeah, I'm not seeing any of the numbers yet. So we're traded back down, looked up, didn't get back above the open. Look at the tick, didn't get back above the 0. That's keying us in on not getting long, right? Opportunity to get short actually was there. I had to step away for a second, but so I didn't get anything. Yeah, I wasn't talking. I just jumped away from the computer for a second. So there goes the low, looking to break actually straight to the same tick. Yeah, it looks like it wants to go. There it goes. Some aggressive selling coming in down here at the lows. Watch that 68 level. 5 minutes later, still nothing. Euro tanked against the USD a little. Is that the A or the E? Which one is it? The E is the Euro. Yeah, it's the E. Yeah, the Euro's getting just smacked hard. I just got an alert. Let me see. And like the interesting thing here, guys, is this is kind of a buy zone. Like, if we look at this on a bigger scale, right? Let's look at the daily. If you're a long-term trader, where's the daily? If you're a longer-term trader, an area where you would want to show up and want to buy is kind of in this level, right? So in this previous gap, and so that's kind of, you know, it's a tough trade down here, right? Because you definitely don't want to be getting short down here, and you know if you're getting long, you might have to take a little bit of heat.
This is when your words are hurtful. I'm just gonna say that.
Oh, PMI is tomorrow, Pop. My bad. I had my thing on tomorrow. Oh, my thing was wrong. There's no news today. Psh, I'm an idiot. You said my words are hurtful? Yeah, I mean,
because my bot got into short. Damn it! I wanted to go. I wanted to go down.
Yeah, I mean, I still think there is going to be downside. It's just, you know,
it may just be
until
whatever.
it gets exhausted on itself.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
The bot hasn't steered me wrong yet. I mean, it has down days, but it does well with it. So overall, it's still very, very up. So we're good.
You're taking Jared's spot, getting short at the lows.
But here's
long
the thing.
The highs.
But
that's my role.
This is the bot.
I know, right? Yeah. What are you doing?
The bot. This isn't me. It's the bot.
Hey, just stay in your lane. I'll short the bottoms and buy the tops. All right.
Well, the thing is the bot bases it on actual data. It's not emotional like Jared. So.
Oh, burn! Damn, bro.
All right. And on that note, I'm gonna log off.
All right. Separate. Keep the gloves up, Stacy.
The bot has zero emotion. It is just
Brad,
pure data.
Throw in the white towel. Are you in my corner or not, Brad? Throw in the white towel for me.
Oh man, counts are now 0 and 230. So the calls, and still only 2 tickers showing C count. So that's not
when your thing buys bot or buys puts, it's not buying into the futures. It's just saying to buy. This is on a something else, right?
On AMD.
Not on
it's AMD. It's on AMD.
Yeah.
But also it my bot is only in and out same day. It does not look It does not look long term. I mean, obviously it's using data to determine what to do, but it's not using like anything additional.
Yeah, Poke, I remember that too. If we pull up the euro again, I remember the euro being at one point like 2 to 1. Like a euro was worth $2 compared to $1. And now, you know, it's less than $1. And this is, you know, it's going to crash the European economy. I mean,
that's a lot of that is from the Russian thing, the Russian conflict.
Yeah.
Ukraine. You know, I'd heard that all those countries over there were thinking about going back to their own money anyway.
Well, now they are. Yeah, of course. the thing is that they owe a bunch of debt in dollars, and so a lot of these countries, because they were on the euro, decided, oh, let me take out some debt in dollars. Well, the dollar just went on like an absolute tear, comparatively, and it's just kind of crushing a lot of these other things. We're seeing a little bit of buying life down here, but nothing, nothing substantial, nothing telling us like, oh, let's get on the long side. Like I said, I wouldn't even consider a long in the market here unless it's just a little responsive one. But until you see the market get above the open with some positive ticks. But look at the weighted AD. Weighted AD is pretty negative. You're seeing materials barely green, industrials green, and healthcare's green. Healthcare's coming down though, but everything else for the most part's looking weak. Even the triple Q here looking pretty weak, getting below some of these gamma levels here, and it's not
Industrials is barely green. 0.04.
yeah, and materials is a flock to safety, like a risk off play anyways. So, but here we are back to that back to where all the volume is at. And like I said, this is where it is like a tricky situation, because you're in that kind of spot where if you're a long-term buyer, it's an advantageous spot to get long, right? If we're looking at well, let's switch back to the ES on this chart. If you're looking for a spot to get long term for a longer play, this looks like a decent spot to do it, right? Looking for that rejection of balance, looking to play up, and then your target obviously, or your stop loss is going to be down here, that 4080.5 level. Going to Europe sucked because of the dollar euro. Yeah, James is over there right now. He's in Europe somewhere. He's kind of all over the board. Starting to see some things start to try to climb out of the gutter here. Not saying that we want to get long, but just saying be careful on both sides. This is, like I said, today's a tricky day to trade for sure. Poke, you missed it too? Yeah, it is. It's tomorrow. I don't know why my calendar said, I didn't even look that it said tomorrow. For some reason, I just assumed that it was on today's time frame. Warden. No. Hey. Jesus. Warden, shut. Gives no fucks. He's like, I'll bark if I want to bark. I'm a monster. Warden, you're gonna get kicked out of this room. That's for sure. Keep it up. Yeah, now that the one USD is one USA ready to join, USA is ready to join the European Union. And then remember this week, guys, we have Jackson Hole. And for those of you guys who don't know what Jackson Hole is, it's when all the bankers get together and decide how they're going to fuck over everybody again in the US. So, there is going to be that this weekend. I think that's Thursday, and we'll get some Fed speakers. I know Kashkari's on tomorrow, and we know Kashkari loves to just try to kill the market. That's, just the MO. And then Powell's going to be speaking this week as well. He'll tiptoe around whatever they're talking about, and then maybe some some data coming back up. So that'll just be something to pay attention to as the week progresses. And then there is I got a lot of work to do. So we got in the house, so we closed on Friday. For those of you guys that are tracking, that I'm moving into a new house, so closes in the new house on Friday. All of our household goods will be getting in here. Oh, Pal's on Friday. Thanks, Poke. All of our household goods will be getting here on Friday this week. So there'll be no stream again this Friday. But we've got a lot of furniture getting delivered. My wife went on a shopping spree yesterday and bought a bunch of new shit for the house. And that's going to be delivered Thursday. So I got to make sure all the painting is done by Thursday. So there's a lot of work to get done this week. So I'm still going to try to stream every single day. But if I am not able to, you know, just apologize in advance. So not
Are you
able.
doing the painting or is it hired out?
I'm doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I got to do some manual labor every once in a while to remind myself how much it sucks. That way that way I don't get lazy on my trading.
Were you getting ready to say didn't break the open?
I was.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. But yeah, notice how that tick got back up to where volume was at, didn't break above that 0 level, and then here comes B period looking to offer back down to the lows here. So like I said, nothing is really telling us to get long yet. No, there should be no real situation where we're looking to get long. Peter, thank you, man. Yeah, it's nice to finally have a place that will be settled in for a while, and it's a big place too, so plenty of room for everything. You know, office, living room, family room, blah blah blah, all that bullshit that people like. There's space to set up my computer. That's really all I'm concerned about. And a nice kitchen to cook in because I like to cook. Better teach your kids how to paint? Nah. I mean, my kids know how to work hard. But I'm pretty good at painting. It's just tedious, right? I just don't really like it. I'm not taping anything off. I'm just cutting everything in by hand. I got a pretty steady hand. I used to do tattoos before I joined the army, so you know my hand's pretty steady. And the cutting end is going pretty well. So it's just tedious, you know what I mean? It's just a pain in the ass when you try to put on new paint. Just especially when you're on a deadline, right? If there was no deadline, I would be like, yeah, whatever. But so AMD kind of flirting with its close from Friday, it looks like, or it's open. Excuse me, is that the open? Yeah. Studies daily open. Let's change this to green so it's easier. We know it's the open. Yeah, so getting back below, it's open here. Coming back down. So let's see what B period's going to do here. Only 10 contracts traded on that low. Watch to see the tick, how low it gets. If not, it could bid up. I think above that 71, we'll probably see the tick start to get above 0. And you may see a little bit more action here. Starting to see a lot of volume form just outside here at these lows, kind of indicating, especially if the volume comes in right here around this 67, and we don't break this A low, that could be indicating these responsive buyers starting to show up a little bit. Look at all of the volume right here comparatively, right? You got 17,000 volume here, and then on the lows you got 9,000. Up here you got about 8,000. So you can kind of see the push pull here from the gap, right? You imagine if there's a, when we could even mark it here. There's a gap above and a gap below here that we're looking at, and it's just kind of the push pull between. You've got your responsive seller or your initiated seller that came down and pushed this back down, and then you've got a responsive buyer trying to buy in this gap, right? Getting an advantageous spot to buy. And so kind of see what's happening right here. You're getting near that point of control, and the tick is trying to get above 0 here. And that to me is kind of indicating a possible Paparuski that we want to be just aware of or careful of. Not that I'm getting long, I'm just saying you got to be careful of it. I don't know if I'm going to be convinced of really any long positions at all. Even, I mean, there's going to be opportunity for both naturally, but until we get above this balance high, this 4188, to me, it's kind of just showing acceptance in this previous balance area. But the only difference is, or the only key marker is that there is I don't know, today it's like a spot where buyers could show up and control the gap. I think without the gap closing tomorrow, if let's say both gaps don't fill, that's going to be kind of annoying. But if one gap fills, let's say the upper gap fills today, that'll be kind of key, letting us know that this lower gap is a spot where longer term buyers have been willing to step up and purchase the market, which is, telling for us at least to at least just show that there is some buyers in the market here. I think BTC will go to 21.5 and then get smacked. If it's gonna load any of the drawings, I don't know. Lower highs on the 1 minute. You're out of all your puts, Dan? Damn early. I don't know. I still think there's some downside in here. Like I said, I think unless this market gets above this 4188, I think the downside is still gonna be a holder. I think that, some big money might have accidentally got a little bit too long. And may have made a mistake as far as what they were expecting this market to really continue. So we come back up to that point of control and get sold back down here a little bit. Look to see if B can take this A low. I don't know why none of my drawings are loading on trading view. You see the tick got smacked down basically right at the 0, and you can still see the weighted AD just kind of pushing back down here. Healthcare is almost back below its open. XLY is consumer discretionary, just getting smacked. Financials still looking like shit. Communications still looking like shit. Industrials barely green. Materials and utilities green. Is, like I said, it's a risk off. You always hear me say, oh, utilities and materials don't even matter, and that's typically because it's a risk off situation where you're just looking at you're looking at people buying that because they know the volatility is not that intense, and it gives them the opportunity to keep a low risk trade. Weak spot on the profile. Like 64.75, a little bit of liquidation down here at the low. B period takes the A low, but it's a poor low still. And look at the response there. So that's the key there. The response. Oh, what happened here? Push me into another. That was weird. Always check your trading software. This thing's annoying as shit. No, it took me out of my short and then put me right into a long. That was weird. But anyways, so a poor low as it starts to develop, and we do have still 20 minutes, but a poor low as it starts to develop is an indication that, you know, possibly the market's getting a little bit too short there. So we just want to be careful here, not getting too ahead of ourselves and trying to get short at these lows, expecting this big breakout area. Tick's still looking terrible. Everything's still looking like it wants a little bit more downside here. People are ready to load up on calls, retail in monkey mode. Yeah, they are. Yeah. And you've got, and see, the thing is that makes me nervous, Dan, about the downside, even though that's, you know, that's the direction I'm trading, and that's the direction I think that we're going still a little bit, is because of that, right? Retail getting, you know, trying to buy these hopes and prayers. I kind of am assuming that, you know, we might get a little bit of you know, kind of a pop lock and drop, and then a pop, because just to shake out these shorts, right? I saw a ton of stuff on Friday that was basically telling me that for the most part we had what's it? Basically for the most part you had a lot of people still holding puts, right? And a lot of people still with a really short bias, at least on Twitter and YouTube. And you saw a lot of people saying, oh, well, you know, blah, 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 the market's still going to go down. And I told you guys I was right. And, you know, yada, yada. I mean, but the market rallied a pretty significant amount, you know, like over 50% off of those lows just in the S&Ps. Even just from July 14th here, this move up was pretty significant, and they've been still saying for the most part, because this is when I saw the talk start, like, oh, I told you guys we're still going down, and then that pop above 4,000, it kind of got a little bit quiet, and then now, you know, dun, 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 right, you know, now that they're like, oh, I called it, I was right, now they get that opportunity to say that again. And you know, it just makes me kind of think like, oh, okay, well, there's probably some weak-handed shorts in here, and if there's weak-handed shorts and responsive longs, I'm kind of looking for a push down. What the fuck is going on with this? Okay. My orders are all fucked up. I'm kind of looking for this push down and these shorts to get close to back to break even, right? And you know, that would probably put us around this 40 41. This is that lower balance. I like this balance here. There we go. Yeah, so this 40.85, I think we get back down into this lower balance area, close this gap. You start to see a lot of these shorts that are trapped down here. These are longer term shorts trapped at the lows cover. And with it being an advantageous area to buy, I think this is, this area down here is where you see some stronger money. You start to buy positions back, and that could really propel the market up. Can you explain that poor low again? Yeah, so a poor low is basically just telling us that the market may be getting a little bit ahead of itself, right? This is a developing poor low. It's not necessarily a poor low yet. It wouldn't be a poor low until the end of the day. But we have kind of a developing poor low, and there's still 15 minutes. So I wouldn't even say it's developing until the C period starts, and see, there it goes. It gets fixed. So I wouldn't even say anything about developing poor low now, but a poor low, if it were to start to hold, would just be telling us that sellers may have gotten a little bit too short, and they may have to rally the market before they can push it back down. All right, this is 4. Does that make sense, Kevin? Right, supply is shutting off. Yeah, poor lows, an indication that there's just not enough supply to keep moving down. So there's not enough sellers at the lows to keep moving this down. Damn, I wish I shorted Tesla on Friday. And Apple too, motherfucker. James talked me out of shorting Apple. Apple's just got killed today. Apple's still doing okay though. And you could see, you could really see the tug of war that's going on here, right? Like we made it a little bit of downside, extended that downside, only traded 16 contracts on that low. But, in reality, there's a lot of back and forth today, right? So there's money to be made on both sides, but it's just, you just gotta be careful. AMC has another stock called Ape listed on NYSE today. It's already triggering circuit breakers. Yeah, I saw that. Actually, Jared and I were talking about that. Basically, just a scam like they do in the cryptoverse, but so it goes from, opens up at $6, it already jumps up to 10, and it looks like it's halted right now. It's just kind of crazy that they're getting away with it, but they, like I always say, you need those people in the market to make money. So, if people want to jump in and blow their money or be dumb, then, fucking let them. Who cares? I'll just, take their lunch money. Like I always say, like, there's just no rhyme or reason. AMD looks like it's breaking its low here. Oh, it's getting close to it. You know what I mean? So in reality, trading is a single person sport, right? When you think about it, I like to compare it to poker. When you're playing at a poker table, unless you're cheating, you're not playing with any other players, and so you see some of these discords, and they're like cults, right? Like or what do they call them? Apes. That's what they call them. Like Poke says, and they named a stock after it, but they call them apes, and it's like, oh yeah, have diamond hands and hold forever, blah blah blah. But it's like, how much fucking how much stupidity do you have to just disregard everything that the chart is telling you, and just buy and hold? Be like, I'm just gonna buy and hold forever. right? It's like people that are long in Bitcoin from 50K, right? There's a lot of longs from 50K, and they're still just holding on for sweet success, hoping that Bitcoin goes to 100,000. And maybe it will, you know, but don't you think it'd be better to get in from a better spot long term? Clown stocks for the clown world, Poke says. uh, it is. It's like a fucking joke, dude. It's like a fucking joke. These people, some of them. The market's still just getting hammered here, right? Nothing out of the ordinary here. They're just taking this thing lower. Where did I have my spot marked off? Where's my... $42. Morning, Patrick. Well, still trading here down lower. Still seeing some offers come in down here at the lows. 14 contracts on this low. This shows a little bit of absorption here down on this low. Let's see if they can take it. Yeah, there's a little bit of absorption down here on the low. So if you're still in the short, this would be a decent time to maybe cover a little bit. Still a little bit of absorption down here on the lows. Short since 63. Nice. Looking for 35. I know I'm kicking myself. I had a short on yesterday and closed it at 42.02 overnight and just like, fuck. Woke up, saw that it was like at 86, and I'm like, God damn it. But, you know, what can you do? You can't catch everything. So tempo's starting to get a little bit slow down here, but that just could be, you know, a little profit taking and people just, you know, willing to try to call the low. But so far there's really no indication telling us that we want to be getting long. Tick is still below 0. Price is still below the open. And like I said, even if the tick gets above 0 here, notice where we're at, right? Even if the tick climbs above 0 here, unless price gets above the open, I don't think there is any opportunity on the long side yet, right? And I'd even like to see the market establish above 41.88 before I really decide to buy into some of this long. I don't really see the opportunity here. I've just got one lot left. I'll just keep trying to kind of trailing it down here, but just covered most of my position right there on the 59. Your bot still has a short from 42.24 since Friday? Hell yeah. That's a 1-minute scalp bot and it survived. Good shit. Volume's still coming in here. Like I said, don't listen to me. See that weak spot here? The profile looks like a lot of volume came back down through on that downside. As long as they hold it below that 59, this thing's still solid. The shit that elites do, like ape stock, is amazing. They don't even try to hide it. They could call it idiot and sell. Yeah, they could. I mean, it's just like people, everybody wants to hit a home run. That's a thing. Everyone's so willing to hit a home run that that they'll swing for the fence every play. Like, you guys ever played a baseball game on a console? So selling's still coming in here. I'm gonna put my stop right at 59 quarter now and just let this thing roll. You know, if you ever played a baseball game on like a console or anything, you know, you'll see that if you try to hit a home run every time, like if you try to do a power hit, I haven't played a baseball game on a console in a while, but I'm talking back in the day when you could press X for like a regular hit, square was the power hit, circle was like a, you know, pop fly, you know, those kind of plays. Everyone is just pressing square, trying to power hit this thing every single time. Yeah, see, it looked like it got a little bit overdone down here. You know, everyone trying to hit the power shot every single play. That's what gets them in, because the same reason people play the lottery, right? The lottery, the odds for the lottery are just, you know, they are just worthless. Terrible, terrible odds, right? You'd have better odds taking that $2 every week and putting it on a number on a roulette, right? At least that time, at least you'd win $36 instead of nothing, like most times. But you know, people still play, and it's the same idea, and that's the reason you think about it. What do you think these elites do? They're not dumb like most people. So they get in these chat rooms and they're like, okay, let's see what everyone's talking about. Oh, everyone's talking about AMC now, right? Everyone was big on GME for a little bit, and that came back up a little bit. People are still talking about it. But I mean, we saw with the most recent BBY or BBBY, right? Bed Bath and Beyond. I mean, look at it. It's at $10 now. And if you just look back a couple of days, it was at $20, $21, and if we scroll down even a little bit more, it was at like $30. 1 second. Hello? Sorry. Wife's over there painting this morning, so. Like, how do I open the paint? No, I'm just kidding. He's like, where's the paint sticks? You gotta love stupid people. Everyone can't be smart. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I have nothing against those people. It's just we need those people in the market if we want to make money. You know what I mean? Like, you need those people. You need people like me. Right? Just like we need the you know, we need the big fish in the pond to give us some volatility. Because if the market's just trading in a 5-tick range, or, you know, 5-point range every single day, it makes it a little bit harder to make money, especially if you make the wrong call, you know what I mean? So it's you know, unfortunately, like I was saying, this is a solo team sport, right? Like, yeah, we can do it. We can analyze the market together. We can come up with theories. We can share ideas, but overall, you know, you trade for yourself, right? And that's why I always say, like, you know, you've got to put, you've got to put the blame on yourself when you make mistakes, and you've also got to put your successes on yourself when you do well, right? Like I always said, people are like, "Oh, great call," blah blah blah. Oh, and they say thank you, but for me, that's not really, I like to see them be successful, but really, I remind people every time, like, hey, it's you doing the trade. Yeah, I might identify a level where I like longs to show up, but you still executed the trade, and that's still, a third of the battle. Um, analyzation is only a third of the battle, and then your psychology is a third of the battle as well, right? And these are not weighted; these are just the portions, right? I think if we were to make a weighted AD on psychology, it would be like an information technology, healthcare combined situation. Singles opening up here, C period. But you've got to remember that all of these things are on you, right? This is a solo sport, and passing the blame or trying to put it on someone is really just kind of deflecting the truth, and that really doing that will just kind of limit your success. That's why I'm not a huge fan of trading signals, because it gives people that opportunity to never grow, because they can pass the blame. And if you can always pass the blame, just like in a team sport, then it makes it a little bit easier for your psychology to kind of discount what's actually happening. And it kind of it lets you lack improvement, or lack the want to improve, or even lack the effort in improvement, because you can pass the blame. Like if you look at a football team, let's say, and the quarterback has 300 yards passing, the running back has 150 yards rushing, wide receiver has 200 yards catching, and the team still loses. Well, they're like, well, shit, uh, it must have been the defense's fault, right? But they're not reading between the lines. They're not even thinking about that. They're like, well, I had a good ass game, so it definitely wasn't my fault. And it's like, well, unless you were perfect, which nobody is, not that I believe, then who you could have done more, right? And you can always do more. And I'm including myself in this conversation. I'm not trying to point at anybody. Oh, AMD's breaking the low here. There's always more that you can do naturally, but you've got to, until you can realize that, it really limits your ability to improve on your game. And in a game like this where it's solo, right? It'd be like in poker, blaming the cards. And it's just like, it's a fucking rookie mistake. But it's common, very common. But it can be, can be detrimental long term to your trading. If that's something that you're struggling on, and you're kind of bouncing back and forth, looking for this person's signal and that person's signal, and what this is, or you're easily skewed by what people are saying, it would be best, honestly, to just shut it all off and just go at it by yourself, and then that way you can develop your bias or develop your strategy, right, Daniel? So you can point your finger and say that's the bad guy. Exactly. I'm glad somebody got the reference. Classic movie. So C period breaks that B low by 1 tick. Still looking pretty aggressive here. Yeah, I can never find the meme that I'm always looking for. I'm always looking for the meme where Tony Montana throws the towel back at the guy, the dishwasher, while he's washing dishes, and he's like, "I retire." I'm always looking for that meme, but I can never fucking find it. That's how I felt yesterday when we finished painting. I want to fucking throw it down, but like, you know what? I retire. But it's good. Hard work, hard labor really reminds you sometimes, especially for me, I've been doing this for a while, sitting in front of the computer trading, reminds me how much I enjoy it and how much, easier it is physically than painting, right? And it just kind of gives me that reminder, like, hey, just keep working hard at what you're doing. Don't just start to get lackadaisical, because that's where you could end back up doing fucking manual labor. And some work is fucking, it's tough. And I don't know if Roach is in here today, but I mean he works concrete, and it's funny that one perma dislike is gone since you've returned from the hiatus. Yeah, Poke, I wonder who that was. Yeah, there was one person that would come in and just fucking dislike the video every single day. I mean, I don't mind, everyone's gotta, be mad. So, and that's the thing, is those people are coming in there placing the blame. Like, I don't understand why people dislike any YouTube videos, right? Just close-minded people for the most part. Just like that guy we had last week, who I was talking about psychology, and we were all kind of discussing it, and he commented, and I was in a full circle story too, and I was really dragging it out like I do. And he's like, you need to stick to trading. And I was like, oh man, you just missed the whole message. Poor guy. Smash the likes. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it. Yeah, Pop, doing concrete is ass. It sucks. It's hard work, and it's not fun.
Hey, I'll tell you a little story about concrete.
Okay.
When I was first married to your mom, her dad Mike had a job where we had to go redo a foundation at this house, and he did not tell me, do not touch the concrete, because the concrete that they use to do foundations has a ton of lime in it, and it eats your skin.
Oh yeah.
And I was smoothing out the concrete with my hand instead of using. We had these big old rubber gloves that looked like you were going to go help a cow get birthed, and I was smoothing it out, and he goes, "Oh, you better go wash your hands quick." And I went and washed them, but even then, it ate the skin off my hands. My hands were red for like a week.
Yeah, he should have told you don't touch it barehanded. That guy's a fucking loser. He's dead now. You're a truck driver, Reyes? Yeah, that's tough work
He
too.
died?
Yep.
Mike died? Of what?
Just death.
That was a weird family. Not her real dad.
Yeah,
Not her real dad.
Yeah, no, her real dad's still alive.
Yeah, her adopted dad. Yeah, her real dad needs to be the shit kicked out of him.
No, that's who no, and that's not her. Her real dad is in Indiana. He's a cool dude.
No, not her real dad. I'm talking about the guy who adopted her.
Yeah, that guy's
into
dead.
The foster home.
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay, yeah, Mike Lackey is his name.
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay.
080. So Dr. VJ, those are from my uncle's bot. So the 7 is the call counts. So he's tracking call counts and put counts. And so 7 call counts, 104 put counts. So basically what it's telling us is that more people right now are getting into puts than calls. Can't please everyone. I'll send you a podcast timestamp on Discord where some big YouTubers put it into perspective. Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Yeah, and that's the thing is like, you know, until a lot of people learned that, that's what limits people's ability to learn from all kinds of people as well too. And that's what I see that a lot. If somebody immediately writes somebody off, right? They feel like, oh, I'm smarter than this person. I can't learn anything from them. I saw it in the military all the time with the rank structure. People would be almost afraid to learn from a subordinate, which in reality, you know, like that's the dumbest fucking shit ever, because who's doing most of the work? The subordinates. So a lot of times that's where the greatest ideas come from and the inventions come from, right? I mean, think about the market profile itself. When Peter Stoudemire brought it to Jim Dalton was the head of the CBOT, and Peter was just a fucking floor trader, right? But he was using the organization of the auction market theory in a graphical representation to make his decisions for trading, or to assist with his decisions for trading and kind of what they were trying to do. If Jim Dalton had discarded it, right? Maybe some other big name might have picked it up and it still might have come to fruition, but maybe not, right? You know, so it's that's how so many things are come to the big ideas, and just writing them off is just such a mistake in my opinion from a lot of people. Just like, you know, just like when I was trying to get on BitBoy's show, and his people basically told me like, you're nobody, so no, like your opinion doesn't matter because you don't have enough followers, right? And you know, I had nothing, you know, I didn't get upset about it. It was just like, all right, you know, we see where you're at, you know, you see what kind of person that is. Because for me, like if someone hits me up on YouTube or Discord and like, hey, I'd like to come on the show, I'd like to share something, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. You know, regardless of what it is, you know, if I feel like it can help the community, or if it just gives the community a different perspective to look at the market, then why not? You know, I don't understand why people are always trying to, people are just so afraid to lose the spotlight. You know, and we kind of see that happened, we kind of saw that happen recently in our Discord. I had to ban somebody that had been a long time member, and actually, you know, from the beginning, because they
But Brad, the people
got afraid of losing the spotlight. And for me, like, you know, if someone wanted to get on the mic and they were doing a better job, the same reason I'm trying to encourage my dad to try to get on here. My dad hasn't been doing this, but you know, it's 7 months now, and I'd love to have him get on here if he had the time. He's working every day for the most part, but if he had the time to lead what his thoughts are while he's trading, because he's been doing so well, it would just be nice to get different perspectives from, you know, from different points of view. What's up, Kevin?
Brad, the people that watch BitBoy show aren't watching to learn anything, because those aren't the you know what I mean, those you want to learn something, watch BitBoy shows, so you know what I mean, it's like it's entertainment show. So that's you know, you're gonna go in there and want to teach people stuff. They don't care about that shit. You know, all they're worried about is get more viewers. You know what I mean? So it's you're all right. A little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I'm not worried about it. The reason I wanted to go on his show is because he has such a big following, and my whole goal with this is to teach people how to take control of their time, right? TTV stands for the trade vets, but it also stands for time to value. And that's what I've tried to teach people is, you know, people value so much, like they value money almost more than anything, when in reality, time is the most precious thing that we have. And if you spend your time grinding 9 to 5 every single day, and you're not happy, it's because you're trading your time for that money. And I'm trying to teach people how to take some of that back. And so being able to get on his show and to kind of explain that, you know, if it was possible, obviously it didn't happen, but would be a way where you can, or where I can at least share the message with people. And if people were interested in starting the journey, right, because we know it's a long path. You know, typically it takes anywhere from 1 year to 5 years for a trader to become successful. And a lot of times traders don't make it down that whole path because they run out of money, right? And they give up, or they just fail to stick with a certain strategy, or fail to stick with the grind that trading is, because it's a grind. We know that. And just but helping people understand, like, hey, the reason that you want to keep putting in this work is to get that time back. Because honestly, like, I've never been happier in my entire life, and I keep saying that. I know I said it like a month ago as well, but I mean, it just feels like my life just gets better every single day, because, well, the community is growing, people are learning, and even in my personal life, things are just becoming easier, even though right now it's kind of a stress fest moving into this house and shit, but it's still, it's like that happy stress. And if I'm able to share that with people and they're able to get some of that, that's kind of my motivation for doing this in the first place. Yeah, thanks, Dr. BJ.
And that's why we love you, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing is people are so focused on money, bro, and money only can only make you so happy. I'm sure there's plenty of rich people that are unhappy.
Well, and you were right. It is a weird thing to dislike a video. It's like, well, how long did you dislike it? Did you sit there and just, I like to do it. It's just, what I mean? And that's why I say anything. It's like, it's hilarious.
Yeah, and that's
really
the
good
thing is, like, why are you disliking? Why not offer some insight? You're like, hey,
Exactly. It's like,
I really don't like this because of this. That's what I would do. Like, and it's the same thing I used to do with my soldiers. When I was working at the hospital, when we would go to the field, we would set up a 244 bed hospital in the field, right? So like in the middle of nowhere, basically. And it's tedious. It takes time. It's labor intensive, right? It's tough work. But a lot of times soldiers, and that's who, like I said, it's a lot of times those younger people or lower people, I hate saying that term, lower people, but lower ranking people that come up with these great ideas that save time. And sometimes leaders are so unwilling to change their mind, like, well, this is the way I've always done it, so I'm gonna do it. And so, like, it's like you get these great ideas that typically come from kind of these places where you're not expecting it. And so, like, it's I don't know, I just feel like everyone has the opportunity to learn from everyone. I don't go into any situation with a closed mind ever. And people that do, kind of, that's where they kind of suffer. You know what I mean? Why not bring some constructive criticism? If I was, when I was in the army, my soldier would bring me something, hey, let's do this instead, and I would look at it and think about it and be like, hey, look, this is not possible. It's just not, you haven't thought it all the way through, because a lot of times the soldiers would bring you something and it is a great idea in a very small vacuum, but it's just not going to work on a massive vacuum, because let's say you'd have to teach 1 million people to do that thing, right? And so, the time is what gets in the way. And the army they're notorious for just wasting fucking time. But also because they're unwilling to use their time in the right way, right? They'd rather just be like, oh no, I've always done that. Where's my fucking report? I need my report. Let me see my report. They just care about, numbers, which is like a lot of these channels, right? They don't care about what information they're spewing or what kind of lives they're harming, right? They're just caring about numbers, right? That's what they're all about. And that's how it always is, right? And you get a lot of these people, they're fucking unhappy. Right? Yeah, they've got money, but they're not unhappy because they have money. They're unhappy because they don't have time. Right? Like if it was me and I had to stream every single day, and I had to, you know, fucking create a show, and I had to do all these things, then it doesn't become enjoyable for me, right? I'm here because I want to be here, right? I don't need to be here. I want to be here. I enjoy being here. But when it becomes, you know, you have to be here, it's just, that's where it becomes like, ah, fuck the job. I mean, it's just like, you know, it's tough to explain, I guess, but I would withdraw maybe, oh, hang on. Reach in, yeah. A few months ago, I was coming here talking about my 20 BTC trades. I would withdraw maybe 10% of what I was making to play these massive trades every fucking day. Alts, BTC, I don't give a fuck, but the stress of playing the big trades just fucks your mental and brings you out with your greed. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, the over leverage is a killer of people in the market, right? A lot of times the reason people don't last in the market is they over leverage. In BitBoy's defense, could you imagine Jimmy Fallon bringing on random person? My point is that they think they're on the level of media entertainment, or at least try to be. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like, but they've got other people on his show that, I mean, I've never heard of. Maybe people that are like deep in the cryptoverse I've heard of. But at least what you could have done, right? Or at least what I would do would be like, hey, what do you want to talk about? You know? And then talk to the person and see, will they handle themselves decently behind the mic, understand his show, right? Can you refrain from saying these certain things, right? You don't want to have people on the mic. Like the same reason I won't stream video games while I'm playing with my friends, right? Because sometimes the shit that gets said is just kind of just not appropriate. And I don't want to have it on my channel. You know what I mean? Not that it's like bad or anything, but just like, it's just too much. The last 2 months or so, I trade about 5K in my account, withdraw basically every week. With my options account, 2K withdraw every week. Hell yeah. 35K in 6 weeks. Let's go. Yeah, it does. It helps you. Yeah, Dan. Like, you get that freedom. And your mental game. Exactly. You just feel better. And when you feel better, you trade better. Market looks like it's getting a little bit aggressive down here at this low. But I mean, that's with everything, right? If you know, it's like look good, feel good. You know, how many times have you know, went to go do something and things just fall into place because of how you prepped for it? You know what I mean? There's a reason that all of these football players who are, I'm just not, no, it's not just football, but all professional athletes do everything the exact same way every single time. That's their routine. That's just how they do it. And it's the same way in trading, right? If you want to be serious about this, that's one thing that you've got to realize, is that, you know, this isn't just jump on the computer and hope and pray like all these dipshits in fucking ApeCoin or Ape stock, thinking, oh, I just buy this and then close my eyes and then look at the stock a couple days later and I'll be fucking rich. You know, most of the time you won't be. Even the kid that they said made 20 million off BB, or what was it? He made like 20 million off BBBY, off Bed Bath and Beyond. You know, his parents gave him like 5 mil. I don't know about you guys, but my parents aren't giving me 5 mil. You know, so like, and if they're just giving him 5 mil to fucking put into the stock market, obviously they got some disposable ass income. So yeah, okay, he's 20 years old and he made 20 mil off Bed Bath and Beyond, but you know, what's the downside risk there? Your parents give you 5 mil, you lose it. You're like, Dad, I lost that 5 mil. You wanna hook it up again? Or he's like, you're not getting any more money till the end of the month, Billy. You know, like, what the fuck? Yeah. Yeah, the number one thing you see is losing money. Yeah, most of the people losing money. And that's the thing, is like, if you do give signals, people will start to blame. They'll just be like, oh, you're fucking, and they'll start like attacking you. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like, you were wrong. Like, no shit. Like, you know how many times I've been wrong? God damn, if I had a nickel for every time I've been wrong, I wouldn't have to work at all. You know, every trade, that's the thing, is people don't understand, every trade is a 50% chance, right? It's either going to win or it's going to lose. There is no in between. It's all about you once the trade is on, how you manage the trade, which is why I keep bringing up psychology is so important. It's so, so important. And if you haven't read that Atomic Habits, I re-listened to it while I was painting this weekend. Listen to that shit. I mean, it's like 6.5 hours long. It's not very long. You could listen to it in a day easily. You know, think about the time that you spend doing other things. And I posted this on my Facebook this weekend about, you know, people, especially a lot of friends will hit me up on you know, friends from either like high school time or like army time and be like, hey, you know, what should I buy? What should I do? And I'm like, you know, it's just not what I do. It's just not that easy. And that's the kind of stress, like I just don't want to take that kind of stress on because, you know, fuck that. I don't want to get a phone call from a friend. I'm like, hey, yeah, you should buy some Apple, and then Apple goes down 1%. Like, bro, what the fuck? Put every dollar I had on Apple, and then it went down. It's like,
That's the teach a man to fish versus give a man a fish.
yeah,
You're not
exactly.
here to give a man a fish, because if you're doing all the heavy lifting and they're doing nothing, then they're not learning anything. And they're just going to come back to you again and again and again and again and again
Yep.
every time. Just like that kid who made that money, if he had lost it, like you were saying, he goes back to his dad. Hey, dad, why don't you kick down? That's the same thing. His dad would have to kick down again in order for him to be able to be successful. So his success would depend upon somebody else's, you know, generosity. And that's not success. That's freaking riding the coattails.
And that's the thing is like if it was that easy, then everybody would do it. You know what I mean? You think about the people that are offering offering a lot of these signals in these signal groups, and there's, I mean, what's the thing I always see people post on Twitter? There goes the low. Nice, nice. What is it called?
I think it's copy
FinTwit?
trader.
I think it's called FinTwit. There's like it's like a little platform that people like post all their trades on and shit, and so like they find their favorite trader, and their trader posts the post. There's not a lot of people that take the real trades, right?
Trader.
There's a couple people that I follow that I really like, and most of them just do it for fucking free. And those are the guys like that I think are legit, because you know, why would they do it for free when they could easily charge money? One of them being that trade with Zero Emotion guy on Twitter. I think he's an Indian guy, like from India. You know, but he, for the most part, he's on top of his shit. All the trades, I mean, he trades mostly options and stuff, and I don't really trade that much options. I just like to follow along and look at his kind of sentiment to see, like, is he shorting the market or is he longing the market, and it helps me. Okay, well, he normally has a pretty decent grasp on what's going on, and he's trading kind of the big tech stocks. So helps me grab a little bit of that sentiment, and it's like, you know, but he does it for free. Atomic Habits was that book, Daniel. Yeah, Trading in the Zone is good, but Trading in the Zone is more of a scratch the surface type of book to me. I don't think it really offers insight into things on how to fix your problems. It just kind of identifies problems that most traders have. It's very general, whereas Atomic Habits can really make you think about what your personal hangups are, and kind of push you into those things. Psychology is what makes trading work, and that's the thing is, and psychology can be work because a lot of people don't enjoy working on themselves because they just want that success. See, for me, I love psychology, and I've always loved psychology because I always like to understand why people are the way that they are, what makes people tick. And you know, for me, I don't really see it as work. What I see as work is me having to paint a fucking house. Thinking in bets is great. Yeah, I love thinking in bets, Peter. That's another good one. Well, that's the thing is like, let's say I give you a trade every single day. I give you one trade, okay? But I only tell you the entry. Right? I'm only going to tell you where I'm going to get long or where I'm going to get short. Okay. And you get about 1 minute or get about 15 seconds left till D period opens up. Looks like D period's gonna be open up with some singles above. So look to see if they close. If they don't close early, then I mean we've just been short all day, so we're pretty much good to go. We're one time framing down since the open, so no craziness here yet. But the thing is, so let's say I say, okay, I'm gonna go long right here at 52. Okay, and that's it. That's all I give you. And you're thinking, okay, well, shit, he's long from 52, and it's at 51 quarter, so he's down a point, half point. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? You're like, oh, fuck. And that's all I tell you, right? And then the end of the day rolls along. D period traded up to 56 and down to 47. Okay. You close the trade for a loss. I close the trade for a win. We took the exact same trade, the exact same time, the exact same entry. The difference is I closed the trade for a profit. You close the trade for a loss. It's the same exact trade, but the outcome is different, right? Because of why? Because of ourselves, right? Because of our own personal psychology, right? Jared and I have had this discussion a bunch. It's like a lot of times when I'm looking for a trade, I'm looking for a longer play. I'm looking to build into the move of the play, not necessarily playing the right now volatility. Like what's the next tick? That's not a game that I play. That's a faster man's game, right? And it's more of a anchor trade or more of a fast trade, as Jim Dalton would call it, where I'm more of a slow trader. I like to get a developed trade. Um, you know, and that's the thing is like, okay, if I say like right now, boom, we're in 52, we're long, we don't fill these singles, then maybe cut the trade. But maybe I hold it and I keep trading up and I'm looking to go repair that B half back because I think that C high is a weak reference, right? You close the trade because you're in a little bit of profit and it's starting to slow down. You're like, ah, fuck, boom, closed it right here. You closed it for a profit of 1 point. I hold it till the end of the day. This thing trades all the way back to 65, and I post the trade at the end of the day. Oh, this is the trade, and now you're like, well, what the fuck? I need targets and stop losses now. So now you want me to just trade for you. And I'm not saying you specifically, I'm just using generalization, but that's what people want. They don't want to understand that the market is a two-way auction process based off of human emotion. They want to tell you, oh, it's all algo traded, it's all this. I need A plus B equals C, not this fucking A squared plus X squared equals L squared sometimes. Right? They want to look at the market and they want to say every time the market has a 50 crossover a 200 that's a golden cross and the market is going to go up from there, right? That's what they want to say, and that's how a lot of people trade. A lot of people lose money like that because it's natural for humans to want concrete information. Those are all those right brain thinkers that they need 1 + 1 to equal 2 every single time, and that's just not how trading works. Like I said, that'd be like in poker, just blaming the cards, right? Sometimes you get unlucky. Sometimes everything that's telling you to get in a trade to go short, and look where we're at now, 56, right? These poor fucks that got short here on the low because they weren't seeing the absorption on the low are fucking just, they're thinking, fuck, what do I do? Right? And this thing gets above 63, they're really going to be fucking pinching themselves. But that's a thing, is like, it's all based off of what you do. And if you can't understand that and you refuse to work on it, because you can work on it, that's the greatest thing. And that's why I think that trading is a skill that everybody can learn, because there's no physical limitations, right? I think the limitations are mental limitations. But I think everybody has the opportunity or the possibility to learn. It's just that Some people don't want to put in the work that it takes to do it. Right? It's like you look at the guy that has a 6-pack abs and you're like, man, I wish I had good genetics and could have a 6-pack. Right? And sometimes it is good genetics and having a 6-pack, but sometimes people work hard. Like I've had a 6-pack before one time in my life, right? In 2012. And I'll never forget it. I took a fucking picture, sent it to my brother, and was like, whoa, 6-pack. And because I have a protruding gut, like it's like a muscle gut, like a Chuck Liddell type gut. So like when I breathe in, you can see my abs. When I breathe out, you can't. And it's always been like that my entire life. Even my son is like that, and he's, you know, he's pretty goddamn fit. But I put in a ton of work to get it. And that's the thing, is everyone's like, oh, you're just lucky. It's like, maybe I am lucky, but, you know, also
What was it?
a lot of
What was it you
fucking
were
hard
saying
work.
about luck? What was it you were saying about luck? Luck is something about hard work, or I don't remember, some percentage of hard work or something like that.
Oh, I don't remember.
It was on, I don't know, last week sometime you were saying something that luck is more about preparation, or being prepared and having the work done than it is all about luck or whatever. Anyway, just saying.
I can't remember. I mean, yeah, I think.
Yeah. There's a quote that's like when opportunity and preparedness meet.
I'd have to look it up. I can't remember it. Yeah, Martin, that's a big one. Is like, you know, you've gotta master your fears of ego, and that's a big thing. You know, people are so afraid to fail, and you see it a lot of times in mothers. You know, a lot of mothers are afraid to let their kids fail at stuff, and so they'll do stuff for them, right? And a lot of fathers will do stuff for their daughters that they won't do for their sons, right? A daughter walks up to her father and says, "Daddy, can you open this jar of pickles for me?" Dad goes, snaps it right off, hands it to her. Son walks up, same thing. "Dad, can you open this jar of pickles for me?" Dad goes, "Why don't you try?" "Oh, I did." I'm like, "Try harder." Like, you know, why is that? Oh, luck equals preparation meets opportunity. That's it, Ace. Yeah. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Yeah, the harder I work, the luckier I get. Right. Because the more prepared you are for the opportunity, the more times you're going to be able to capitalize on opportunity. You know, do you think it's a coincidence that you think it's a coincidence that Tom Brady is just the best quarterback of all time? Right? Or do you think he probably works his fucking ass off to be there? I'm like, well, if I was rich and I was this and I was that and I was that, well, Tom Brady was a fucking 6th pick in the draft, or 6th round pick in the draft. You know what I mean? Imagine when Drew Bledsoe got hurt, if he came in and he just was terrible. But he worked his ass off to be prepared for that opportunity. And then when the opportunity struck, boom. Dynasty, legacy. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a big advocate for that too. Habits beats genetics. Yeah, he was. "2008 price action repeating in the S&P 500. Inflation is too high, plus tensions between China and Taiwan are rising. What do you guys think? Will the market fall?" I mean, long term, if we're talking, I still think that there's a leg down before the market continues up, but I really won't be convinced of, you know, a break of this 36.3, you know, until we get closer to the lows. You know what I mean? It's hard to go into every day like that, because you have up days during a downtrend. Like, I mean, if we look, we're in a downtrend. You can't really argue with that, right? At least since the beginning of the year. right? But we've had up days, and this most recent rally has been, if you take it from the lows, 58%, almost 60%. Got out of your short after daily target, any entry to get short. I'd wait to get short. I think that we still got some life in this long here. I mean, nothing really goes straight down or straight up for the most part. Unless it's the euro. Euro just fucking goes down pretty much constantly. You know, the key overall is really just, you know, continue to improve yourself and don't be afraid to fail. Right? Don't be afraid to try to improve, right? A lot of people don't want to try to improve because they're afraid they might fail. That's why a lot of people don't do shit. You know what I mean? And it's a key thing. Like I was saying, is like, why would a father open the can of pickles for his daughter but not for his son? Because he wants his son to be tough and manly and blah blah blah. But you're not doing anything for your son by teaching it, by doing that, by telling it, oh, open the can of pickles, and you're not doing anything for your daughter by doing it for her, right? For me, I'm like, fucking no. You can't open the can of pickles, I guess you won't have any. Pickles are fucking gross anyways, so definitely not doing it. But, you know, think about that. Think about that in your psychology for those of you guys that have kids. And guaranteed next time that this comes up, you're gonna think about that. Just because I brought it up. I'm like, oh shit. And it'll hit you and you're like, I do that. Right? And it's because of human nature and how we are like habit creatures. You've got to think about you've got to think about that that instinct or like that habit that you develop. What's your habit when you get done trading, right? What's your habit after you take a trade? Or do you impulse into trades? Or do you key into trades and take good trades and patient and wait for them to come to you? Or do you just try to ride the lightning every day? Pickles are a drink and a food at the same time. Yeah, pretty much everybody in my family likes pickles except me. I'm not a fan of them. I like pickles if they're fried. Fried pickles are bomb. Dip them in some spicy ranch. $87 contracts traded on that low there. Yeah, and that's the thing is because so Martin says trying to understand fair market value like a car guru, which provides undervalue fair and over which the car would look, which would get them to look into the car, right? So, and it's the same thing with the market. A price could be determined fair right now, and then we trade back to it, and then, you know, I don't want it there anymore. Yeah, Chili's has those spicy pickles and dipping sauce. Yeah, they're fucking good. Jameson with the pickleback. Yeah, that would be good. A little whiskey with some pickleback. Yeah, nice little. I like that. A little salty action. Um, but yeah, you know, like it just I mean, it just makes sense when you think about it, right? Look at used cars this year. I mean, I've never, typically they say, and this is in my entire life, when you buy a car, you drive it off the lot, like there goes $3,000 of the car, right? It's gone. Boom. Like, and it's gone, South Park style. But I sold both my cars for more than I paid for them. Well, no, actually not more than I paid for them, but definitely more than they were worth. That's for sure. Because of the market right now putting value into used cars. And it's cooling off a bit, but you know, there was such a demand for used cars because new cars really weren't coming out because of all the chip issues. And it's the same reason why there's car salesmen and you can't just purchase, you know, a car from somebody. From a manufacturer, excuse me. You know, because you definitely get it cheaper from the manufacturer, but why would the manufacturer sell you a single car when they could sell a company a bunch of cars and let them sell it for whatever they want? Right? The same thing we talk about in the market. If you come to me and I'm a broker and you say, hey Brad, I want you know, 1,000 shares of Apple, but I want them at 168, right? Well, what am I going to do? I'm going to try to get you filled closest to 168 as I can. And if I got to drop some bids to get it down there to fill that, then that's what I'll do. And then, you know, bring the price right back up because I don't want to sell them down there either. And I know you don't want them to be lower than that. So it's the same idea. The difference in the market, which is really hard for people to understand, is that the two-way auction. Because we think of auctions mostly, when people think of auctions, is it just goes up, right? $1, $2, $3, $4, right? And just goes up and up and up and up and up. But imagine at the end of the auction, or not the end of an auction, imagine at an auction, they put a time regulation on it and the object doesn't just go to the highest bidder, the object goes to the last bidder. Right? So we're betting on a painting here, or bidding on a painting, and or we can use the Michael Jordan basketball. That's what I like to use. You're bidding on that Michael Jordan basketball. It starts at 100, goes down to 80, goes up to 150, goes back down to 100, goes up to 170, goes back down to 90, goes up to 250, back down. And then eventually the time runs out of the day, and whoever had that last bid, they get the basketball. Trying to learn waiting on your course. Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, I'll be fully moved in Friday, and so and then school starts the next week. School starts late here for the kids, and I'll have a lot of time. I do have a lot of stuff going on too, like with, you know, I don't know if any of you guys are married and moved into a house and all the stuff that your wife's like, oh, we should do this, and then, you know, projects start to stack up, and you know,
Wait till you've been there a week.
I know that's what I'm waiting for, TJ. That's why I already know how busy I'm gonna be. Because you get there and they're like, "Oh, we should do this instead," and it's like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen until they've looked at the ceiling a couple nights in a row, and you're like, "Fuck! Now we gotta do this. Now we gotta do that."
My wife's already saying, "You know what would be great right here if we put a chandelier in?" I'm like, "Oh, fucking hell."
Been there.
She's gonna be like, Brad, you think we could just tear this wall out right here? You know, put this right here. Like remodeling the whole house.
Yeah, exactly. You move into a house and like, let's change everything. Like, fuck, should have bought a different house.
Now the worst is a year in when she starts changing what she already changed.
Yeah. Oh god. See, that's where I'll draw the line. I'll be like, you know what?
Okay.
If you want these walls a different color, then you fucking paint them yourself. Or then I might just hire somebody, because that's like, I already painted them once. I'm not painting them again.
Have you ever seen that show Peaky Blinders?
Yeah.
I was when the character's shoveling shit and the guy's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "It's an honest day's living, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it." Just reminding myself.
Yeah, and that's the key. That's the thing is like that's how I think about like painting the house. Because Jared asked me the same question. He was like, "You're painting it yourself?" He's like, "You're rich. Why are you painting it yourself?" And I'm like, I gotta remind myself like how much that this shit sucks, because I don't want to go back to work. Because like as much as I loved the army, and I truly did love the army, I really did, because I was able to change so many lives and help people out that just, because you meet people from all walks of life, and a lot of people, the reason that they're unsuccessful is not because they just are shitty and worthless. It's just because they've never had, they've never been given the direction to become successful. And so, I really enjoyed it, and that's the reason I enjoyed it. But, given the opportunity to go back into it after getting a taste of this, I'm like, nah. I'd love still to work with soldiers and maybe like lead a finance class or something like that, but not I don't want to go back into the day in, day out of bullshit. So 10 minutes left until this E period opens up, and it looks like D wants to get up here and tag above that 63 here. I'm gonna cover pretty much everything right here, I think. Yeah, I'm out. I have one lot left when my stop's at 59.25. Maybe it keeps running, maybe it doesn't, but I don't wanna push the limit here. Zero and 93. Let's look at AMD real quick. AMD looks weaker than the overall market here. If AMD starts to settle below this 93 level, it's going to start to get ugly. I do like this 90-73 area as an area to buy AMD, actually. I think there's some opportunity once we get close to this level, this 90-73 to 90 level. There's might be some opportunity to get some calls on AMD, and that's kind of why I have that marker there. I put some markers if we wanted to look, because I was getting interested in trading some options here, especially with the market sometimes, giving us a bit of nothing. Even though the next month as September comes around, we should get some more volatility coming back in the market. But for Apple, I'm eyeing this this 159 level. We have that gap below on Apple, and I think that'd be an area where we see some responsive buyers. Might get an opportunity to jump in there. On Apple, we already talked about AMD. Amazon down here at 129. We're sitting at 133 right here, so we're not too far away. There's some opportunity. You could see this previous gap, 132.41 to 122, so a pretty large gap, but around that 129 level, I'm going to start to get interested in maybe getting some Apple calls. Like I said, I think that the market is going to break a little bit, but I don't think it's going to, I don't think the weak shorts are shook out quite yet. Disney, I don't know if I had any levels for Disney. I did not. I did add it to my watch list this week because I know one of my uncles trades it, or used to trade it a lot, and I want to start eyeing it a little bit more. Google, I still like Google for the long, but just kind of waiting for that spot to get in. Meta, I'm just kind of afraid to trade because it's just such a piece of shit. Especially if we look on this daily. I mean, it's just, Meta's just bag of garbage. I kind of want to just stay away from Meta. Microsoft, didn't really have any levels on. I don't really like trading Microsoft, to be honest. I think it's a little bit overpriced. Netflix looks like it has some opportunity to short. And I kind of missed my opportunity last week. Kind of see, I had this marker at 247.77. I was looking to get short, but just didn't pull the trigger. And then Tesla, I wanted to short Tesla as well, but didn't pull the trigger. I was too scared. Because last time I shorted Tesla, I got smacked. And so then I'll look for it to trade down to this 827 level and maybe some opportunity there to trade it back into that 900 level one more time. But if not, if it gets back up to this 928 level, I think I am going to pull the trigger on Tesla and maybe try to get a little bit short deltas there. The VIX climbed up to 23 today. Pretty decent sized move up on this gap. Yeah, AMD still looking pretty weak here. Ended up selling. The bot was right at the edge where it should sell. It seemed like it was just going to range for a while. You close that long, or that short, I mean? Yeah. We still have these single prints above, so you're seeing the market with a double distribution look today, right? Separated by the single print. So you have this distribution lower, a poor low gets put in right in this gap. That's kind of what indicated to us, you know, that maybe the market was getting a little bit overdone. We still haven't seen anything that really tells us we want to be getting long-term long, right? With that nice little fade off the 52, but for the most part, we're still one time framing down. It was a really just tight risk opportunity to trade that low. You can see energy flipped around here and materials still green for the day. How much does a micro account need to be properly funded? I mean, not like, I mean, if you just had like $1,000 in there, pretty much all you would need. Trade smart. The key is the risk management part, right? For me, at least, that's what I'm always preaching about, is managing risk. You know, if you can make $5 a day, $10 a day, $20 a day, $30 a day, you know, you can make $300 a day. Just a matter of leverage and comfortability. It's the same trades.
If you want me to show the pattern, I can show the pattern. That if you had $25,000 and you invested 15% every day and you made 2.1% return on that 15%, on the first day you will make $75. But if you do that every day consistently, so whatever the number is, whatever number, so let's just say you started with 25K, you invest at 37.50 and you make 2.1% on that 37.50 is $78. Over the course of 1 year, if you do that every single day, you invest 15% and you make 2.1% every single day. At the end of 1 year, you will have $51,000. 51 something or another. 51, that's probably a little less than that, but something like that. So you'll have increased 100% over the course of a year just by making 2.1% per day on a 15% investment.
And that's the thing, is like, people just they're not willing to wait for that a year, you know what I mean? Like they want it now. Yeah, and you've always got to pay yourself, Dr. VJ, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, people are just they want it now, you know? And that's the thing, is like, if you can learn how to catch one fish a day, right, eventually you'll learn how to catch a couple fish a day. But if you're just, you know, if you're just out there trying to catch all the fish today, right? And let's say today you go out, you go fishing and you catch 10 fish, right? Well, you go out tomorrow and you're expecting to catch 10 more, when sometimes that's just not what's provided, right? And that's when you go looking for that number. You're like, I need to catch this many fish every day because this is how much fish it takes my my family to eat, let's say. But that's what happens is you start forcing it, and that's when people typically get into a lot of problems, is they start forcing some of these things, and they over trade, or they don't take profit on some of their trades, and that's where a lot of these bad habits start to develop. And you go out there and you're like, I'm catching 10 fish today, no matter what. And I mean, I'm not saying don't have the mindset like, yeah, I'm going to catch 10 fish today. But if you're out there just not letting your hook set, right? You might hook a fish and then lose all your fish. Who's ever done that? Who's ever been fishing and you feel the bite, you go to hook it, and it gets off the hook. And you're like, fuck. And so then boom, you just keep casting in that same spot, hoping that same fish is just going to fucking bite again. Right? You're like, oh, there was a fish here. There was a fish here. There's a fish here. You spend the whole day fishing in that same spot, never catch another fish the whole day. Right? What do you get out of that? You don't get shit. Right? Except for anger. But if you understand the process and go into the day, okay, I'm going to let this trade come to me. If a trade sets up, I'm going to take that trade, right? And the way that's going to happen is because you're going to be prepared, right? If you're not prepared, or you don't have your psychology unlocked, then you're not going to be prepared. You're not going to do your homework. People that go fishing, big time fishermen and stuff, they don't just fucking go out in the middle of the ocean and throw the net in the water, right? They're tracking fucking migration patterns of the tuna, right? They're doing their homework. They're not just going out there and just throwing a net in the water and be like, well, when it fills up, I'll reel it back in and then just fucking go back to shore and sell it. Like, you know what I mean? They're doing work. It's not this isn't just like a get lucky type situation. And so sometimes you go out there and you're like, okay, this is where the tuna should be. You throw your net in the water and boom, fills up in a second. You reel it in, dump it, throw your net back in the water, and boom, it fills up again. And you're like, holy shit. The taxi driver? Austin, what are you saying?
In the book Thinking Fast and Slow, there was an example with taxi drivers, how they tried to earn the same amount every single day, but then on the rainiest days, that's when people want to take taxis, so then they make the most amount of money on the rainy days. And then on the sunniest days, nobody wants to take a taxi because they rather walk, but they're so fixed on making that certain amount of money every day that they end up spending the majority of this nice day that they could have just taken off because they weren't going to make as much money anyway.
Right. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Definitely better than my analogy. And that's the thing, is like, a lot of times, like, if the market's not doing what you're expecting it to do, and you just sit here and sit here and sit here and sit here, or almost try to force it to do the things you want to do, you're going to end up just angry. You know what I mean? Because the market, as shitty as it sounds, doesn't care about you or I, right? We're not big enough to change the market's trajectory.
The bot would have just gotten out, so I'm just saying that this might be close to time for reversal, because I sold it earlier, but it was not, but it's now giving the indicator that it would have sold. So just saying.
We got this cash VWAP up here at the 63. A little one tick above. Let's see if we can run these stops up here. 52 contracts on that high tick. think I need to stay out of the market. I met up with my daily target already, or is there a way to take profit like crypto? Are you talking about on that Apex account, Crypto Lab? Oh yeah, I mean you just have to wait the 10 days until you're done. If you've already met the goal, you should just trade one MES contract until you get your funded account. You remind me of an AA prayer. That's what a lot of people need. A lot of people need some gamblers anonymous for when they're trading, because a lot of people, that's pretty much what they're doing, is just gambling.
By the way, that quote that I was talking about earlier was, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah, I like that. So we hit the 64 there. See if they're going to keep lifting this offer up. A lot of bids came in on the 63. What tips you off the buyer and seller intent? I mean, so for me, I'm just looking at like kind of how the market's going, right? So like even down at this 52, we just saw the market start to get, really kind of slow, right? Really the tempo to the downside just kind of started to give up, right? Now we're seeing that VPOC shift down to this lower distribution, and I mean now the distribution's kind of gone, really. And you've got to think about where these buyers eventually, we were going to run into a responsive buyer, right? And if that responsive buyer is going to hold, that's yet to be determined. But there's I mean, it's just kind of hard to know, you know what I mean? Like it's tough to explain exactly, okay, here, this is what's going to happen. How long did it take you to go from a novice to a pro? I don't know if I really like the term professional trader, right? A lot of people call themselves like I see it on Twitter all the time underneath of their name. They have a handle. It says like professional ES trader, and it's like, are you though? Like, because it's a tough thing to determine what makes you a professional, right? Do you trade on a trading floor? Do you trade for a living? Are you profitable? Like, it's hard to really kind of determine what makes a
By
professional a professional.
definition,
Isn't in the end, isn't it more about having more winning days and losing days rather than it being like a professional? Because you're just, I mean, the reality is there's always going to be a learning curve no matter what. And anybody who thinks they've learned everything they're going to learn is fooling people.
no, I think you're professional if you do it for a living, by definition. Like that, if that's what you do, you know what I mean?
See, and I kind of buy into the theory that you're able to go down a level. So like the way that I had the levels kind of broken down is into 3 levels, like a beginner trader, and an advanced trader, and then I like to call it a risk manager. And there is opportunity to go back and forth in between all of these levels, right? Just because you were once on top of your game and you're profitable for a year doesn't necessarily mean that next year you can just coast, right? You see that a lot of times, especially in like UFC, right? Look what happened this weekend. Usman got knocked the fuck out, right? Nobody bet that Usman was going to lose. Nobody, like fucking nobody. Nobody, right? One more time. But he did, right? And the reason, who knows? Who knows why? Maybe he got a little bit, maybe the other guy just, that fucking head kick just got his ass, right? And he was knocked the fuck out. You did, Tommy? Nice. But I mean, like, besides Tommy, fucking nobody. Yeah, the guy's English, right? But like, for the most part, when they matched everything up, it was like, oh, Usman's just gonna whoop this guy's ass. And if you look at Usman, you're like, yeah, because the other guy, he's kind of skinny, right? But I mean, that head kick just fucking floored his ass. I mean, he was out. He was like, he didn't even know where he was at, right? Yeah, if you guys didn't see it, try to look up the replay. It was a pay-per-view, so I don't know if the replays will be on there. You'll probably find them somewhere though. But like, that can happen, and that's what happens a lot of times is like you get these traders that go on these hot streaks. They make 100 grand in like a couple of weeks or couple of months, and then boom, the next couple of months they fucking lose all their money, right? So are they a professional trader, or was it just a hot streak?
Well, so take that kid that made 20 million. I mean, is he a trader? Is he a professional trader?
Right, exactly.
I mean, he got 5 million from his parents. I mean, whatever. But did he have anything on the line that really made it to the point where he actually had a vested concern that if things didn't go his way, other than his dad might be irritated with him for losing 5 million? I mean, come on.
By definition, engaged in a specific activity as one's main paid occupation rather than as a pastime, as in a professional boxer. So by definition, if it's most of the time, then you're professional.
And that's the thing is like, yeah, you can define some of these things by a license or like by a number. And that's the thing is I just don't buy into that. I buy into the philosophy that you can go back and forth, right? Yeah, you can be doing things as an elite trader or as a professional trader or as a, like I refer to as a risk manager. But if you don't stay on top of your game, you don't do your homework, you don't do your preparation, you just start to wing it, or you think that you already know what to do, so you just start to ghost ride it, right? Sometimes when you ghost ride the whip, you crash into the car in front of you, and insurance doesn't cover that when you're going dumb in the Bay Area. You know what I mean? Like, sorry. And that's a thing is like, what can you do in that situation? You go back to that advanced trader, or then you go back to that beginner trader, and a lot of times that's what happens. And yeah, like Daniel's saying, it really does come down to just putting in the time. And that's, I would say I'm pretty good at this, right? Not the best, right? There's definitely people that are better than me, but I'm pretty good at it. But I also put a lot of fucking effort in. Right? You could ask my wife. Like I'm almost constantly looking at a chart. I've got my iPad with me all the time, and like if there's a lull in the day, you know, most people like TikTok or fucking Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or whatever, right? I'm like, let's see what's going on here, and I like pull out a chart. I like to look at it from different angles, and that's the thing is like, you know, when you stop putting in that work, it gets to you. Like a lot of teams, like what's the best team ever in NBA history, right? Didn't win the championship. What was the team with the best record? Wasn't it the Lakers? The Lakers had the best record in a single season. Was it the Lakers or was it? Let me see.
I think it's the Lakers in 71.
The Warriors might have beat it. Yeah, the Golden State Warriors in 2015 beat it.
By how much?
I'm not sure. Yeah, it was. I mean, we could even use the Golden State Warriors as the example. In 2016, the Warriors went 73-9. They only lost 9 games all season. 9 games, and then they fucking lost the finals. Right? They lost the finals to who did they lose to? Was it the Cavaliers? And they kind of got cheated. Not gonna lie, fucking bullshit that Draymond Green got suspended, but they lost to the Cavaliers. LeBron basically just got beat by one player, LeBron James, because everyone else on that team is fucking garbage. But you know what I mean? Because they were on coast mode, and they were up 3-1. No time ever in NBA history has that ever happened to a team. Have they lost after being up 3-1, and then the Cavaliers win 3 games in a row and beat the best team in the NBA? You know what I mean? And so that just goes to show you the same thing. I was thinking about the Celtics. No, I was thinking about the Lakers won. I was thinking about the Celtics. Boston Celtics in 1973, they won 68 games, lost 14 games, and then they lost in the conference finals. They didn't even make it to the finals. But like, I mean, imagine only losing 9 trades all year. And then comes to the end of the year and then boom, you lose. You don't win the best trader of the year award. But you only lost 9 trades all year, and you're not the best because you started to coast. You didn't keep performing. You know what I mean? And so that's why I say, like, to put a limitation or a specific note on yourself saying I'm a professional trader is I mean, I don't know.
Are you thinking arrogance?
I don't think it's arrogance. No, like, I mean, I just think the definition is not, there's no concrete definition for a professional trader, right? It's not like in the NBA.
Even the freaking IRS doesn't have a definitive definition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it's not like when you're in the NBA, you know you're a professional NBA player because you're in the NBA. So, you know, it has nothing to do with your, you know, you're in the NBA. And I could have went pro in boxing. If I wanted to get my pro card, I could have easily got my pro card. I was good at boxing. But I just didn't want to go pro. Because the step up from amateur to pro is you start fighting some motherfuckers that are just not playing around, you know? And I didn't have the time or the effort to want to put into that. And so that's the thing is, like, I think you're a professional when you're willing to put in that, all stars are saying, that Kobe effort, right? If you guys just read about Kobe or listen to some of the stories that people tell about Kobe was the best player in the NBA, right? At a certain time. But he also put in the most effort all the time. Kobe would be in the gym before you and stay in the gym after you, even though he was the MVP, right? Like people are like, "Oh,
That's
I could shoot a
why he was
basketball."
the MVP though.
Right. Because of all the effort that he was willing to put in. But he was already a pro, but he wanted to
Yeah.
be the best. Right? And so and that's how you kind of have to think about trading. Like, yeah, if you want to be a professional trader, you just got to keep putting in work. If you want to deem yourself a professional trader, that's great. But think about in the NBA, who do you want to be? Do you want to be Kobe? Or do you want to be, you know, I mean, think about how many people you can name in the NBA. There's deep benches, and I guarantee you can't, name everybody. Most people can only name the elite players. I mean, think about any sport that you like, not just the NBA. And so that's what it takes. It takes the effort to really kind of determine if you're a professional. And I just think there's no way. There's just the level of trading that you're currently at.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is like about the title. Like it's not like college where you go get your doctorate degree and then for the rest of your life you can put doctor in front of your name. Like with trading, it's so hard and it's always changing. Like you could be a professional trader one day and then be bankrupt the next day, you know.
Right. Yeah, and you could trade like a god today, and then tomorrow, yeah, you trade like shit. You're like, well, fucking professional shouldn't have done that. The real sign of professionalism too is like the ability to bounce back from something like that. There's days where, especially, I'll keep using the Warriors as a example because that's kind of the hometown team, but Klay Thompson is probably one of the best shooters in NBA history. Right? His shot is just pure. He has a really good shot. Him, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Larry Bird, right? A lot of people don't give Larry Bird a lot of credit. He's one of the best players in NBA history, but he's almost never on anyone's top 5, right? Most of the time because all the discussion is between people that weren't alive and watched Larry Bird play. But if you watch him play, you can't argue with what he was doing, right? Same thing with Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was a great player. A lot of people don't give him the credit, right? A lot of people are like, oh, LeBron's the best. Like, well, what makes him the best? But like, if you're able to bounce back, back to Klay Thompson, is like he has these games where he goes like 2 for 15, and then the next game he'll score 50 points. And I honestly don't. I just think Klay kind of coasts sometimes. I don't think he's in the gym with Steph bouncing fucking tennis balls off the wall with his eyes closed on one foot. But I don't know for sure, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Klay, but that's going to be the difference is when you get done for the day trading and you say, okay, you know what? Instead of picking up my iPad to look at a chart and think about how tomorrow's going to go, I'm going to pick up my controller and I'm going to play Fortnite. Or I'm going to pick up my phone and I'm going to scroll on TikTok. Right? A lot of people, this is why I posted on Facebook, a lot of people tell me that they don't have the time or the money to learn the market, right? Well, it's not very expensive. $30 a month, you could learn the market, right? $30 a month is going to give you the data to trade the market, right? That's pretty much all it's going to cost you is $30 a month, right? It can get more expensive if you just keep, fucking things up, but it doesn't have to. And these are the same people. Fortnite do be kind of lit. Yeah, Fortnite is cool. Also, I made Champs League in Fortnite and fucking casual player, so basically the skill level of NA East is just dog shit. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a lack of effort put in by a lot of people, and that's where they kind of pass the blame. It's just too hard. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. Well, it's like, well, how much fucking time do you waste on social media? How much time or how much money you spend on shit you don't need? How much takeouts do you get? How much Starbucks do you get? You know, these people that tell me these same things are the same people I see out drinking at the bar, right? And I'm not a fucking expert at drinking, but I just assume that pretty much if you go out to the bar, that night's going to cost you $50 minimum, right? Depending upon where you're at. I don't know how much it is to drink in California, it's going to cost you $100. But like, you know, and not only are you out drinking, so you're out spending the money that you don't have to learn how to trade, but you're also out wasting your time, right? I mean, and maybe you're having fun and you enjoy it. I'm not taking anything away from that, but I'm just saying, don't say that you don't have the time or the money when you do. It's just you are thinking about it in the wrong perspective, right? Oh, I'm having trouble. I don't have the time to do this. Well, if you got a girlfriend, it's going to cost you $200. You know, you've got the time. It's just a matter of using the time how you want to use it. And if you don't want to learn the market, then don't fucking learn the market. I'm not saying that everyone should. I'm just saying that, you know, think about the time that you spend. If you're in a spot where you're struggling, think about those things. Because for me, when I was getting this going, I deleted all of the games off of my computer because they were a distraction. Every time I got on my computer, I was like, well, shit, I could play my game. Even though I'm on my computer, I could do some homework, or I could just play my game. I had to delete everything.
There's a phrase: for every failure, there is always a villain. And you just need to figure out who that villain is. And in most cases, it's you. You're your own fucking villain. But I'm just saying, when you say, oh, I didn't make that, I didn't learn how to do that because I didn't have time. Well, like you said, where's the time coming from? Who gets to decide what the time is used for? It's just a matter of who do you want the villain to be for your failure?
Especially these people that, you know, they write books and they do, you know, plays like all these different things. They're the same 24 hours a day that everybody has. Can just get all this shit done.
I gave a quote a while back. I'll have to find it. I'll look it up really quick.
I mean, look at Elon. Elon's got all the time in the world, it seems like, because he's fucking constantly trolling on Twitter. And he's the richest person in the world, or one close to. It's like, well, damn.
He's always on a podcast too.
This guy got a fucking time machine. He just goes back in time. You know, it's like.
Hey, Brad, with F period about to open up, are you what are your thoughts, I guess, on the rest of the day? Are you looking for a continued downside, or you think the bottom might be in off the ABC initial Brad balance?
I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, I think maybe that just because of value, it's tough for me to really buy into any of the long side. And we just have this huge gap above still. I think this E period is mostly just a, you know, kind of how do you call it? Like
relief rally kind of?
Yeah, like a relief rally. Like the market got a little bit too short and needs to bounce a little bit. Not that it can't keep going, because it definitely could. We know that, right? Short covering rallies are sometimes hard and vicious, and it's because people are unwilling to cut these shorts. But it doesn't necessarily kind of convince me yet. If F period opens up and starts to trade higher, right, we've got about 20 seconds. We will have let's see if it comes up here. We will have 4 TPOs pretty much throughout the whole session with a little gap in here. But you'll have value pretty much down at this low, and it looks more or less like the day will probably end up being more rotational than anything.
I found the quote. He said, so the guy who wrote Legend of Bagger Vance, his name is Stephen Pressfield. Someone asked him, someone asked him if he wrote on a schedule or if only when inspiration struck. And he said, I write when only write when inspiration strikes. Fortunately, it strikes every morning at 9 o'clock a.m. sharp.
Yeah, that's such a good one. Would you say weak price up on declining open interest?
Be nice to get a little weak high, EF weak high, buy and shut off.
Yeah, I mean the E high looks a little bit mechanical as well, and so it would be interesting to see if that F goes up into where that volume was at, that kind of 68-ish area where the weak volume's at, and then that 70 area where that seller really came in this morning. We're just kind of sitting on the VWAP right now, like kind of holding price below the VWAP. But we are getting some value developing higher, but it just doesn't. It looks looks weak. It looks like some absorption around like that 65, 64 area.
Yeah, those initial single prints in B, like between A and C period, we've just been like chopping around in there for a while.
Yeah, for like the past like I don't know, like 20 minutes. It seems like E period, like after trading down low a little bit, and stopping me out at that fucking 59, traded back up and just didn't just stayed up here.
Well, the bot appears to have called it on AMD. It definitely did a reversal right after it got out.
Yeah, it did. And you're starting to see a little bit of a bounce if we pull over the sectors here. You're seeing a little bit of a bounce here in tech, right? Making higher lows. Healthcare making higher lows. Discretionary making higher lows. Financials. Communications are a little bit weak. Industrials are pretty flat. Staples are just making lower lows. Energy really turned around. Utilities making higher lows here a little bit. Materials and real estate making higher lows as well. And a lot of times, and this is kind of one of those things where it's a tough spot here to decide if you want to get short or if you want to get long, especially from the middle of the range, because could really go either way. And you have an opportunity today, let's say, especially with the poor low, if these shorter time frame traders got too short, typically what causes these giant moves up or these fast hard moves up is their unwillingness to cut the short at a reasonable price, and then it rips them up, and then they'll do probably the same thing on the downside. They'll rip them up, right? All these shorts that are stuck down here, right? We see all the volume coming in, VPOC's down here. They'll just pile out, buy. All these traders that have been waiting and getting stopped out on their longs all day and didn't catch the lower part of the profile, they're like, oh shit, I'm gonna miss it. It's gonna go. They're gonna buy. Right? Failure to get above this 41.88 is really gonna kind of confirm that the market's still pretty weak. You can see the market is kind of trying to make a little bit of move to the upside if we're looking pretty much on everything here. But for the most part, that'll kind of confirm to us that the market's weak, especially if we don't take the A high. You'll see laggard buyers get in late, and then they'll pull the bid on them and snap them back down. So really, what I'm waiting for is the reaction down here, this area around this 56 area, 58 area, like to see a reaction. I'd like to see some volatility pick up, and I'd like to see some of these things start to roll back over, right? So if we're looking at Apple here, Apple's kind of coming right back up to the VWAP. Pretty sure this is the VWAP. Coming back up to its VWAP as well. The market's pretty much at its VWAP also. But you know, I'd like to see some of these start to make lower lows. This is on a 15-minute. I like to do the 30-minute TPO, and then I like to track the stocks on the 15-minute. Sometimes they can lead us a little bit. That will just be kind of an early indication. But really, like I said, I don't think I'm really going to be convinced of any long-term longs or any longs that I'm going to be willing to sit in. Even this long that I took from 52, I moved my stop up to 59, and this E came back and got me. The thing came all the way up to 65. So a couple points on the table there still, and if it keeps rolling, it's just going to piss me off. And that's what that's what can kind of happen a lot of time to other traders too. Is like they get in. They get in a nice spot, it goes up, they get back ticked, and then it keeps going up, and they're like, they're thinking the whole time, oh yeah, I should get in, I should get in. And then as soon as it's about to break this A high, they're like, oh yeah, I'm getting in. And then they get in, and then all of a sudden it rolls down. So I might just call it a day and just make sure I don't do anything stupid.
I feel like that a lot.
And a lot of times that's the thing is like, I mean, I got a bunch of stuff I got to get done today anyways, but I'll put an alert right here at 58, and then I'll put another alert right here at 78, and I just will stay out of this area. Yeah, it'd be nice to get in along right here and have this thing rally up to 73 and be good to go. But
who says that's going to happen?
Yeah, and the thing is, especially getting into the profile, you're in basically the meat and potatoes of the profile where price is agreed upon, and it's just going to take a other time frame trader to step it in. And if you're on the right side, yeah, that's great. But if you're on the wrong side, that's awful, so David Blaine said he could full court shot every time. But yeah, I am going to end it right here. We kind of talked about already kind of what we're thinking. The profile does look real similar to Friday's profile, right? It looks like a B shape. A little bit less range extension on the downside as we got that poor low put in. So, possible indication that these momentum shorts might have got a little bit too short early on. Only thing that's going to tell us is time, naturally, because the auction is limited by time. I'm still leaning more towards the downside, really, until we get above this balance high. I think that our opportunity to sell rallies is going to be more beneficial than to buy breaks. We are pinned in between a gap above, a rather large gap above, and a fairly large gap below still. Remember this 41.88. The reason I like to see the market establish above that level is because it's the previous balance high, and if we scooch over to the ES chart on the daily, right, we're in this balance area here, and we know according to balance rules, if we get accepted, typically the target is that low of balance, and that's at that 40.80.5. And so that's kind of where I'll be looking to, basically sell rallies until we get down there if we get accepted inside this balance. I still think, the long-term trend is down. I don't think that. I can see that with my eyes. We have a short-term trend that's up for sure, but we still have to make sure we pay attention to the big picture always. As much as I am typically looking to long the market, sometimes when the market's telling you not to long, you just got to not long, right? So we've got to trade the chart in front of us always and never forget about the big picture. That's what people get short time framed, and that's what gets them punished a lot of times. But other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure that you are managing risk and sticking to your trade plan. If you don't have a trade plan, don't trade. If you don't know how to make a trade plan and you're not in our Discord, go ahead and post in the chat here on YouTube and be like, hey, I want to join the Discord so I can see the trade plans and start to make my own trade plans. The only thing that we ask is that you be positive and respectful. We got a good community of people, and we're not trying to fuck it up. And if you're watching this on recording and you're looking to get into the Discord, you click the link below. You're like, the Discord doesn't fucking work. What the fuck? Just send me an email, brad@thetradevets.com, and I will send you the link. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you all later.